All right, everyone, welcome into this exciting week. So we are going to focus on the new moon, or sorry, not new moon. This is the full moon in Aries, which is happening on October 6th. And this is a supermoon. It's also referred to as the harvest moon. So a supermoon, it's just the energy amplified. It's intensified. So when we think of what a full moon represents, which is really that showing the light on ourselves, on our inner world, on things, really coming to truths and understanding about what do we need to let go of because what's not working for us, but also like the new moon's about what do we want to bring in. But then we shift to the full moon of what do we need to release to bring in what we really want? So I also think of it like a spotlight, really shining the light on our true selves and facing just seeing the truth and understanding, again, our life and what we need to do. So as far as the Aries full moon, so Aries is an intense fire sign, and kind of how I'm going to phrase it here of the energy, it's really about making choices about what we want to fight for. Also, when we think of our relationship with ourselves, it's really understanding when we're fighting for ourselves or when we're actually fighting with ourselves. So there's this balance of understanding potentially our self-sabotaging behaviors and where are we in conflict internally and what are the things we actually have to focus on and truly fight for when it comes to our needs or desires or what we want in the external world. Aries are very assertive. That the energy of Aries is assertive. So another thing, because we have that full moon energy, which is really intensifies our emotions, is as well as understanding being assertive versus being aggressive. So you may have that test a little bit of, really we're finding clarity about what we need and also how we communicate that. And we can do it in a way that's clear and respectful of our audience or person that we're speaking to. And it's also asking us, looking at our patterns of, are we standing up for ourselves and asserting our truth versus on the extremes of that is we shrink back, we don't express our truths, or you're on the other extreme of you explode, right, in an aggressive manner. So it's finding that balance. We also on the same day have Mercury in Scorpio. So there's been a lot of Mercury energy at the forefront lately. So there's just been the spotlight on communication and really understanding Mercury is about intellect. It's about communication. It's about networking, how we connect in a way as far as our communication. And that Mercury in Scorpio is that energy of Scorpio is going to cut to the truth. And they're going to do it and not bulldoze, but move through any fear about it. So this is a time to cut through confusion, really, with that Aries energy and the Aries and Scorpio energy. Those are very two intense signs. You have the fire and the water. So just saying, I would say this is a time to be very aware, very objective about not getting too tied deeply into letting your emotions kind of overflow, because when you have the emotional overflow, that potential aggressive Aries fire is just going to kind of potentially explode like a volcano. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about next week is Mercury square Pluto. And that is actually, so the full moon and Mercury and Scorpio are happening on the 6th. And then on the next day, on the 7th, Mercury is squaring Pluto. So that's another day we have Mercury again at the forefront. But this is also about exposing truth. So I would just say, like, throw your cards on the table, because if you've been holding anything back, if you've been lying, if you haven't been speaking your truth, all that's going to come out this week. Also, from like an external standpoint, you're potentially going to find out other people's truths, or the truth is going to come out that maybe you didn't know. This is going to also happen on a world collective scene. So we might see this in the news, things coming out that are pretty, surprising. And as well with this like square with Pluto, again, there's this challenge for us to really be careful of how we're communicating our ideas, communicating our truth. You're going to feel extra, triggered as far as like certain stances on ideas or things happening. And you're probably going to be triggered to want to really like stand your ground and express how you feel and what you believe is the truth. This could also be in regards to like political matters or things like that. And this is not a time to kind of go in for the fight around this. Most people during this energy are also going to be in the same, right? They're going to be feeling the same thing. So it could cause a lot of conflict, and no one's going to be willing to listen to your side this week. So people might even be really triggering to you about challenging your ideas, because it's almost like ideas that are completely opposite of yours are going to come into your view. And it really is an energy to, again, help us find harmony in ourselves and accepting that not everyone is going to think the same thing as us. And how can we be more inclusive of that, even if we have a really strong, passionate stance on something or really condemn something? Again, just this is not a time to stand up and fight. So it is important on how you respond to other people. Don't get too defensive. Take the high road and keep an open mind. And allow people to have their own views this week. So there's a lot around communication, a lot around truth this week, and that full moon is going to put the spotlight on all that. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in and get the cards to see what they have to say about this full moon and the week ahead. So, of course, I'm going to pull some Moonology Oracle. Take time to breathe out. Yep, definitely. We're probably going to have to physically take ourselves away from certain situations. Even just like have some time alone, because this week could be triggering. Just be aware. Your dreams need a practical plan. And I'll pull one more here. The energy is gaining momentum. Yeah, definitely some intense energy that's shifting, but also I feel like the energy is really pushing things up. And that's why we have all this themes of truth this week, because especially with Pluto and Aquarius, we're in the age of Aquarius, and again, the other astrological aspects this week, it's about really pushing anything that is hidden, anything that's not in the highest good of other people, of the collective, of ourselves, is going to get pushed to the forefront and lay it out on the table so we can all see it. Because we can't live in the dark. So to me, when you're lying, or when you're lying to other people, or using it as a manipulation tactic to get what you want from people, that's kind of living in a dark space. So that has to get shown, and people's truth has to be seen. And, it is a positive as far as, because even though if you're the one doing it and you're getting the spotlight on you, it's for your highest good to grow out of those sort of behaviors, or feeling like you can't get what you want by being truthful, because that's false. You're going to get what you want by being truthful 100% of the time. You may, in the short term, get what you want from hiding things from people or lying. But in the long run, you're going to have to face that, and there's going to be major consequences. All right. So yeah, look at that. Hostilities. Oh boy. You can't make this up. The divine speaks the truth here. And oh my gosh. Storm warning. Whew. Maybe it's best to stay inside with this full moon and these energies, at least for the first half of the week. Oh my gosh. And this was the next card, but I decided to just shuffle again, and it came out again. So this has to come out, the garden and the gate. So it is freeing us. Whatever's happening this week is freeing us from feeling stuck, from potentially being imprisoned from the truth. But it is freeing us to open up to new things that are more abundant for us, that are better for us. We are definitely freeing something. It could also represent freeing the truth, because the truth being withheld does end up causing harm to ourselves. It is festering. But there is, when people do this, or when the truth isn't revealed, or even when you can't face the truth, that could be another thing. It's not that you're lying to somebody or withholding information, but you could just be lying to yourself about a situation, and trying to see it as, rosy, or, it's almost like you're trying to see your own truth because it supports your views or supports your beliefs. That's even bigger here. So the hostilities are going to be on point this week. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of conflict. Like the guidance, don't fight this week. Don't be aggressive. You might feel triggered to, but really be aware of the feelings coming up and where they're coming from. There is going to be a potential I'm also feeling this in the collective. So this could come out as far as the world stage. It could also come out as like weather, really strong potential bad, some sort of big impacting weather patterns as well. So, but this has to happen because the truth has to come out, and the truth will free us. And that's exactly what this means. So I'm feeling excited because the truth is always way better. And I do feel like, especially on a worldview, there's a lot of truths being withheld. And I feel the age of disclosure really showing itself now. The layers are coming off and peeling off. We're really seeing the truth to how we've been living, our governments, just a lot of big collective kind of areas of life right now. And a lot of people who like to live in their ignorance and don't want to change, because a lot of times people won't accept the truth because, like I said, it totally makes people feel unstable, because what they knew of life, if they can't trust that, that completely shakes their internal structure of who they are, which a lot of people can't handle that. Let's keep going here. 9 of Wands, 4 of Swords, and 9 of Cups, and the Fool. And here we go, 8 of Wands. We are moving forward quickly in some new direction here. And I'm going to pull this because the Empress here and the Ace of Swords, oh my gosh, the Tower and the 5 of Pentacles. So something could come out, some truth around money or finances, or how people are using money that is immoral or just outright kind of outrageous. People are people's money is being taken advantage of here, but there's definitely some truth about I'm going to move this because Jupiter just joined the reading. So sorry, sometimes I start at the ending first and work my way back. So yeah, there's definitely some truth coming out. I also feel like there's going to be what's happening here from more of a higher perspective. There is something around the divine feminine energy that's also being freed right now. The divine feminine energy has been pushed down, has been distorted, and been manipulated and withheld for a long, long time. And I feel like the divine feminine energy is finally being set free here. And part of that is there's some truth that's going to come out that's going to blow everything out of the water on what we know, on what we believe to be true. So this could manifest in the outer world, the external environment. This could also happen for you. This could really blow the water on familial karma, ancestral karma, because there is the healing card showed up. So there is healing that needs to happen. And the only way that we can actually start the healing process is we need to blow up the old. We need to blow up whatever's being held unconsciously in the depths. We need to face the truth. This could also tie specifically for some of you back to your mother, or just mother figures in your life, or the maternal family line. But something truth is going to come out that's really going to upend a lot. But it's also in a positive way. I do feel like there's a lot of beliefs that have really impacted how you show up in the world and how you relate to the world. Maybe you've struggled all your life, and it's really been tied to this karmic energy, these belief systems that are not tied, that are not true, and they really impacted your life. But you're freeing yourself of this. We need to free ourselves of the dark, lies or things that we aren't aware of. If people are putting an image on that is false and trying to make us believe something that's not really true, that's manipulation, and we're freeing ourselves of this. And as we move towards the front here, really we're over it. The Nine of Wands is the over it card. I feel like collectively, people are over the games, the lies. We want the truth. There could be a situation in your life that you're over, and you're just like, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to heal. I'm done being stuck in this cycle. And even if it meant I have to really face some things, some truths about my family or myself or my relationships that are hard to swallow, you're willing to do it at this point because you've been pushed to that level. But ultimately, though, I like this. There could be healing addictions, or finding the truth to some addictions as well. But because the Nine of Cups on a negative aspect can refer to addictions or the ego, too much of the ego, being in the ego. And, I usually don't pick up on that, but for some reason with this and kind of how the cards have come out, I do feel like you're healing almost like a too inflated ego, and that could come through your family line and something that you're facing here. But I do also feel like we need to face the truth to finally get what we really want and to move in a new direction that's more positive for everybody involved. Okay, let's continue. So we have the Ace of Pentacles, Five of Wands, and the Three of Pentacles. So what's interesting here is this is a major pivot point. This is a major opportunity for us, like I said, to move forward in a new way, to build to build and to continue down a new path that's in the best and highest good of everyone involved. So this is a opportunity. All of this is an opportunity. However it shows up, however dark or big it appears, there is an opportunity. I do feel like with the Five of Wands, there's going to be a lot of people that try to fight this shift. They almost are going to try and fight the truth. They're going to continue to, because they don't want to accept the truth because it's too much to accept. And it also means that people have to change. Okay? And most people want to stay in their comfort zone. They want to hold on to their truth, because also there's something about ego here where people don't want to also admit defeat or admit they were wrong. And this needs to everyone, so whether you're right or wrong, okay, however this truth shows up, if you were right and this substantiates your theories or your intuition, it's not about shoving it in other people's faces. And especially with the energy this week, you may be inclined to, really be aggressive about, see, I was right, and I told you so, and you guys were wrong, and you guys don't know what you're talking about. That's the kind of energy coming up. But also then, if you're on the other side and you're proven wrong, and your idea or your kind of stance of, no, this is the truth, and you're proven wrong, this isn't a time for you to also continue to dig your heels in and say, be naive about it and saying, I'm too stubborn to accept this. So even though it's showing up as a truth, a lot of people can still be stuck in their delusions and say, I don't care if that's really what's being shown to me. I'm not going to believe it. So we need to come together. And really why this is happening is to help us come together, Three of Pentacles, and build something new that we can all come together. We can all create something more stable, whether it's in your personal life or in a collective viewpoint. And we can all come together and build new. We can build something new based on the crumbling of the old and the truth being revealed. Because it's like, how do we want to move forward together that works for all of us, that's in the best interest of all of us? So that's really the message here. But it's not going to be easy. There is going to be conflict. And we did get the hostilities and storm warning oracle cards. Nine of Pentacles, the Hermit, and the Page of Pentacles. So this is a major pivotal point of learning lessons for everybody. What is the lesson? However this unfolds, what do we need to learn from this, right? And how do we need to grow and change from this? And there's going to have to be some major internal kind of analysis here with the Hermit, and really trying to understand ourselves, understand how this shifts our truth, how we can, again, there's this thing about how do we grow from this? How do we expand? What's the lesson here? And that's where this is the center of the reading, is the spiritual energy of the Hermit. So there is something huge for us to learn here and expand and to spiritually evolve. And all of us in the whole group to come together. So if this is a personal thing, there's definitely an impact to more than yourself. So this could be impacting a family. It could be impacting, your relationship. But you could have also kids tied to this. But there's definitely something of how do we move forward in a new way and create more ease, right? Ease in our connections, but also in how we do things. Because ultimately the Nine of Pentacles is about, this is an opportunity for self-empowerment here. For us to find more safety within ourselves. Because I'm also getting, there's something here, this could really shake the core. This is huge, okay? So this Tower and this truth, it could really shake the core of certain people as individuals. It can shake the core of, like I said, the core of who they think they are, their beliefs. But it's also about giving our trust away and our security away to other people and expecting them to maintain our security and to always trust, in a naive way, right? But this, with the Nine of Pentacles, this is helping us to find more confidence in ourselves, in our intuition, and that we can identify moving forward, because this could shake our trust of ourselves even, that we didn't know this and that we didn't pick this up. But we have to find power in ourselves and know that we have the power to, within our mind, within our spiritual connection, we have the power to create abundance, or the power to heal ourselves, instead of always looking externally for everyone else to heal us, for a quick fix, or expecting everyone else to do what's in our best interest, when most of the time, unfortunately, the truth is, in this reality, most people are going to always do what's in their best interest first before others, especially if you have nothing to do with them. Okay, so when we think of like a country, we think that the government or the people in charge are there to do what's best for us. But as we are seeing, as the world is crumbling around us and politics is just in complete chaos and hostility, not everyone is doing what's in the best interest of the collective or the people. They've been leading in their best interests of themselves. And that's not aligned to anyone specific. This is just a general pattern across the board. So let's keep going here. Ten of Swords. Yeah, that's done. Dead done. We got it. So we need to shift out of the old way. The old way has caused heartache, pain, potentially even from a collective view, death, suffering, and that has to end. It has to end. So we have a huge opportunity here to start something new and fresh. If we're looking at our individual lives, this could also manifest out as some sort of big ending for us, but it's definitely for our best and highest good. Ace of Cups and the Hanged Man. Yeah, we need to start seeing a new perspective. Hermit, Hanged Man, there's a big focus on becoming enlightened, seeing the truth, and not just taking the truth at face value. This is about finding our own spiritual truth, not truth based on what we've always been told, based on our religions, our cultures, our family, our societies. This is about connecting to your deepest self, the core of your existence, which is your higher self, and really figuring out, what is my truth? How do I want to, approach the world? And there's a new opportunity for an emotional reset, I feel, and also a purge of dark emotional stuff that also, to me, is in the collective as well. Anything dark in the collective is really being purged and filtered. That's why there is so much chaos and hostility. But we have to start nourishing our own emotional needs first. And as everybody in the collective is healing, is attending to their own emotional needs, that is adding to the collective. And when we think of like a metaphor of a glass of water, okay, and we put a ton of dirt in it, the water is going to be muddy and dark and it's not going to be clear. But as we continue to keep putting more water in it and filtering out the dirt, all of a sudden we can get to a place where it's just clear, fresh water again. But when we think of the collective, obviously it's huge and it's going to take time and it's not going to be overnight. So, wow, this is some huge stuff this week. What's the Ten of Swords about? Two of Swords. This is also ending of there's an ending of like this, for one, right? The blindfold. The blindfold is getting cut off. So we're going to have to face the truth. Also, anything that's been at a stalemate is going to end. So interestingly enough, like the government, you know, has been shut down. So this could potentially also be very specific in saying that's going to end. The stalemate's going to end. They're going to have to figure it out here. Eventually it will, right? But this could pop up in the next, you know, by midweek next week. This is also an ending to just energy of blocks, of protective mechanisms that are really preventing us from fully receiving to our highest potential here. And that also reflects into your individual lives. Fully realizing your potential to receive love, to receive abundance, healing, whatever it means. If we're not receiving that which we truly feel, it's usually because we have blocks. So whether it's traumas, belief systems, fears, if we have an overall mistrust in the world with people, that's going to block us. A lot of this could be very unconscious for all of you. So some of you may be sitting here and saying, oh, I don't have any of that. Well, you know, the truth is we all have it. It doesn't matter who you are, how spiritually elevated you feel you are, or a guru you are. Everyone has traumas. Everyone has some sort of belief systems that they struggle with, whether it's like a lack of self-confidence, a belief that, you know, even the whole statement of like from the old generations of money doesn't grow on trees. That's a belief system that really has blocked us from abundance. So if that's something that you really believe and trust in, that's blocking you. Like even the belief of you have to work hard to, you know, support yourself or make money. I mean, that's not true. I mean, that totally that is opposing the work smarter, not harder. And we're aligned with the universal energy. We're just in the flow, which means that things just flow with ease and grace, and things just come to us. As long as we're aligned. So if we're just acting in our highest truth, acting in our highest authenticity, expressing our creativity, expressing our passions, our love, that's where things become easier for us. What's the Tower and the Ace of Wands? Or sorry, Ace of Swords. Yep. So the truth is going to come out about potentially people that we trusted. This could also be leaders. Some big truth is going to be revealed that blows apart the very foundation of what we thought was true and good, and that we were being led correctly with good intentions. That it could be an organization, it could be a specific person, it could be some sort of leader, it could be some sort of, you know, religious thing that comes out. But we're going to be faced with the fact that this group or person did not have integrity. They did not have the best interest of, you know, their connections or people. It's blowing apart the old stagnant ways of doing things. So, you know, it could go in different ways. I mean, it could be really huge and be pretty bad. This could also just be the blowing up of the old structures, the old ways of doing things that aren't serving us, and that it's allowing us to have a new path here, to do things in a new way that's aligned with where we are today. The truth of, you know, again, the truth of where we are today, because we have to innovate, we have to evolve. That's the law of energy. I mean, it's constantly flowing and changing, evolving, growing. And if we can't evolve and grow, then we're just, for one, we're resisting and we're stopping our growth, and we're creating stagnancy with, and what happens when things are stagnant? Think of stagnant water. It becomes infected, right? It becomes infected. It's disgusting. And so that's interesting. What's the Five of Pentacles? Ooh, Eight of Cups. Yeah, leaving. We're walking away from this. So anything that's been bad energy, we're moving on. Whoop. And what's the opportunity here? The Ace of Pentacles. King of Wands. Again, more about us standing in our own power. King of Cups. Yeah, we're going to do things now from a place of the heart and of our soul. So to me, the Wands is more about the soul. It's about connecting to our higher self, connecting to source, where the King of Cups is about connecting to the heart space. And when we can do both of that and integrate both and really use both to our advantage, I mean, that's when the potential is limitless. Okay, so it's about coming together in love and coming together and with our passion in a positive way to support and help each other to create something new, to think of new creative ideas and be leaders. We're all leaders, and we all have the ability to lead with our actions and how we show up, what kind of empathy we have, compassion, understanding. Wow, this is huge. This is a huge week. I mean, I'm blown away by this. Like, this is almost a pivotal, like, destined shift this week. Okay. All right. Whew, that was a lot. I'm going to leave you to kind of noodle on this, sit with this energetically. And this is great to give us a head start or to see ahead of the storm, right? So when we know information about the storm is coming or something is coming, we can be prepared. And we can prepare ourselves to stay safe, to not be impacted as much, and we can show up in a new way. We can show up and relate to whatever's happening. So the storm doesn't impact us. Okay, we're not completely demolished, or we're not protected here. And that's where we can show up. I think all of us that have this information and guidance and understanding from a spiritual standpoint, we can be there to help, help others, but also pave the path without fear, and truth as our guide, truth and heart as our guide. All right, everyone, you guys have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye for now.